The 1980s was more than just big hair, neon colors, and synthesizers. It was a revolutionary decade for cinema that brought forth an entirely new way of storytelling, cinematic technique, and genre exploration. The 1980s introduced audiences to imaginative sci-fi worlds, groundbreaking action sequences, heartfelt coming-of-age stories, and innovative horror that still resonate with audiences today. Through advancements in technology and a new approach to storytelling, the 1980s redefined what movies could be, creating the blueprint for the blockbusters and narrative styles we see in modern cinema. Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial was a groundbreaking film that elevated the sci-fi genre by marrying it with an emotionally rich story. At its core, E.T. is more than a tale of a young boy befriending an alien. It's a moving exploration of friendship, loneliness, and acceptance. Through the character of Elliot, Spielberg paints an authentic picture of childhood, capturing the sense of wonder, but also the isolation and longing for connection that many children feel. This portrayal resonated deeply with audiences as they watched Elliot and E.T. form a bond that transcends language, species, and even the divide between worlds. Spielberg's direction, coupled with John Williams' unforgettable score, created a cinematic experience that made audiences laugh, cry, and ultimately feel a sense of wonder. Williams's score, from the magical notes of the bike ride across the moon to the heartfelt themes that accompany E.T. and Elliot's relationship, doesn't merely support the narrative, it shapes the audience's emotional journey. E.T. didn't just capture the world's imagination, it redefined what a blockbuster could be, showing that sci-fi and fantasy could be used to tell stories that were intimate, personal, and relatable. The impact of E.T. on modern cinema is profound. Its balance of heartfelt storytelling and awe-inspiring moments laid the foundation for films that use genre to tell deeply human stories. This influence is visible in movies like The Iron Giant, which also explores themes of friendship and acceptance, and in series like Stranger Things, where the wonder of sci-fi intersects with the vulnerability of childhood. By placing emotional depth at the heart of a genre film, E.T. showed Hollywood that science fiction could connect with audiences on a personal level, making it a model for generations of filmmakers who seek to blend spectacle with soul. Through its universal themes and enduring imagery, E.T. has earned its place as one of cinema's most beloved and influential works, proving that, in film, the best stories are often those that touch the heart as much as they dazzle the eye. Ridley Scott's Blade Runner introduced audiences to a vision of the future that was both hauntingly beautiful and deeply unsettling. The film's depiction of a dystopian, neon-lit cityscape, where towering skyscrapers are shrouded in perpetual rain and darkness, created an aesthetic that would define the cyberpunk genre for decades to come. But Blade Runner was far more than its visuals. At its core, the film asked profound questions about what it means to be human, challenging viewers to consider issues of identity, memory, and mortality. The replicants, designed as synthetic beings, grappled with emotions, memories, and the desire for a longer life, emphasizing the blurred line between human and machine. The film's narrative structure also borrowed heavily from film noir, infusing the futuristic story with elements like a morally conflicted protagonist, a femme fatale, and themes of existential despair. Harrison Ford's portrayal of Rick Deckard, a Blade Runner tasked with hunting down rogue replicants, added layers of ambiguity as his own humanity is called into question. This complex interplay between humanity and artificiality, set against the backdrop of a visually stunning yet decayed urban landscape, created a style that was entirely unique to Blade Runner. The film's philosophical depth continues to inspire modern filmmakers. Works like The Matrix and Her draw on Blade Runner's exploration of technology's impact on the self, posing questions about the authenticity of experience and connection in an increasingly digital age. The Matrix takes this further with its exploration of simulated reality and the blurred line between human and artificial intelligence, a clear thematic evolution from Blade Runner's philosophical roots. Meanwhile, Her offers a more introspective take, examining intimacy and identity in a world where artificial beings become our closest companions. Blade Runner's influence is not only thematic, but also visual and stylistic. The film's distinctive blend of noir and sci-fi aesthetics laid the foundation for the cyberpunk genre, inspiring the visual language of films and shows like Ghost in the Shell, Altered Carbon, and Westworld. Its rain-soaked, neon-lit streets, sprawling industrial landscapes, and contrasting use of shadows and artificial lights have become iconic visual elements in cyberpunk, imbuing these worlds with a sense of both beauty and decay. What makes Blade Runner a lasting cultural touchstone is its ability to reflect contemporary concerns through the lens of science fiction. Released in the early 1980s, the film came at a time when technology was advancing rapidly, raising concerns about automation, artificial intelligence, and humanity's place in a technology-driven future. Today, these themes feel more relevant than ever, as society grapples with issues of AI, genetic engineering, and the ethical implications of creating lifelike beings. In many ways, Blade Runner feels prophetic, a vision of a future that raises moral and philosophical questions we are still exploring, underscoring its continued relevance in both cinema and society. Back to the Future is a testament to the art of genre blending, seamlessly weaving together elements of science fiction, adventure, comedy, and romance. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, the film's inventive approach to time travel as both a narrative device and a source of humor broke new ground in storytelling. Marty McFly's adventure, as he navigates the past while trying not to alter his future, is rich with tension, laughs, and high-stakes action. The film took what could have been a complicated sci-fi premise and made it universally accessible and endlessly entertaining, appealing to audiences across generations. Part of the magic of Back to the Future lies in its balance of complex sci-fi ideas with relatable, human stories. At its heart, Marty's journey is about family, identity, and self-discovery, themes that resonate with viewers beyond the excitement of time travel. The film's memorable characters, from the endearing, eccentric Doc Brown to the universally relatable Marty McFly, have become cultural icons, embodying the kind of charm and charisma that make films timeless. Back to the Future successfully created a world that felt thrillingly original, yet grounded in relatable emotions and scenarios. The film's influence on modern cinema is profound. The genre-mashing style of Back to the Future has inspired a wave of blockbuster films that blend action with humor and heart. Films like Guardians of the Galaxy and Jurassic Park owe much to Zemeckis' approach, embracing both intense action and lighthearted moments to create a viewing experience that feels rich and multidimensional. The film also paved the way for other time travel narratives, from Looper to Avengers Endgame, by proving that high-concept sci-fi can be both intellectually engaging and emotionally resonant. Back to the Future also left a significant cultural impact, with its iconic DeLorean time machine and flux capacitor entering the lexicon of pop culture. Its use of time travel to explore cause and effect and the consequences of even the smallest actions has inspired countless movies and TV shows to delve into similar themes. In this way, the film doesn't just entertain, it prompts viewers to think about the choices they make and their impact on the future. The enduring popularity of Back to the Future speaks to its perfect blend of universal themes, innovative storytelling, and genre-blending mastery. It's a movie that's as entertaining now as it was in 1985, proving that great storytelling, when paired with unforgettable characters and imaginative ideas, can create a legacy that stands the test of time. Stanley Kubrick's The Shining revolutionized the horror genre by delving into the psychology of fear, exploring the dark recesses of the human mind rather than relying on traditional jump scares. The film's haunting portrayal of Jack Torrance's descent into madness, set within the isolated and eerie Overlook Hotel, taps into primal fears of confinement, insanity, and family disintegration. Kubrick's meticulous direction, combined with the eerie, almost discordant score by Wendy Carlos and Rachel Elkin, creates an atmosphere so oppressive that it feels like a character in its own right. Every shot in The Shining, from the chilling symmetry of the hotel hallways to the infamous "Here's Johnny" scene, is crafted to build a lingering sense of dread that stays with viewers long after the credits roll. Kubrick's use of visual storytelling is unparalleled. Through subtle cues, such as the unsettling patterns on the carpet, the constant motif of mirrors and reflections, and the unnaturally wide-angle shots, Kubrick instills a sense of disorientation and unease in the audience. The Overlook Hotel becomes a labyrinth of both physical and psychological horror, symbolizing Jack's entrapment within his own mind. This focus on creating an oppressive, almost hypnotic environment allows the horror to unfold gradually, immersing the audience in the slow buildup of tension and terror that feels deeply intimate and inescapable. Beyond its visual and atmospheric mastery, The Shining also offers a profound exploration of themes like isolation, generational trauma, and mental instability. Jack's unraveling reflects the pressures of unfulfilled ambition, alcoholism, and the dark potential for violence within familial roles. Kubrick's adaptation of Stephen King's novel may differ in narrative choices, but it takes the essence of the story, family dynamics in the grip of a supernatural force, and amplifies it with layers of symbolism that engage the viewer's mind as much as their emotions. The impact of The Shining on modern horror is unmistakable. Films like Hereditary and Get Out take a similar approach, creating terror not from shocking moments, but from a gradually building sense of dread rooted in psychological depth. Hereditary, for example, draws on the disintegration of family ties and inherited trauma, while Get Out uses a tense, slow-burn approach to expose social anxieties and identity-based fear. These films echo Kubrick's shift from visceral scares to psychological unease, proving that horror is often most effective when it explores the darkness within human relationships and the mind. The Shining's legacy is also evident in the way it redefined the aesthetic of horror. Kubrick's precision, symmetry, and unsettling use of space have influenced filmmakers who understand that horror can be as much about what isn't seen as what is. This meticulous attention to visual composition has made The Shining a cinematic blueprint for psychological horror, a genre that continues to grow and evolve, carrying forward Kubrick's lesson that the most haunting fear is often rooted in the depths of human nature itself. Raiders of the Lost Ark, directed by the legendary Steven Spielberg, became a watershed moment in cinema that redefined the action-adventure genre. With the creation of Indiana Jones, Spielberg and screenwriter George Lucas crafted a character who was both ruggedly brave and uniquely relatable, a charming hero with imperfections, wit, and undeniable appeal. Indiana Jones quickly became an icon not just because of his charisma and daring stunts, but due to the emotional depth and vulnerability embedded in his character. The film blended heart-pounding action with humor and romance, inviting viewers to not just watch, but experience an exhilarating adventure across the world. The plot follows archaeologist Indiana Jones as he embarks on a quest to recover the Ark of the Covenant before it falls into Nazi hands. This story, inspired by the cliffhanger serials of the 1930s and 1940s, was elevated by Spielberg's innovative direction and his commitment to meticulously choreographed action sequences. Each set piece, from the iconic boulder chase to the snake pit scene, is crafted with such intensity that they've become etched in cinematic history. Spielberg's attention to detail in stunts and action choreography set a new standard, demonstrating that adventure films could be thrilling, yet sophisticated, appealing to audiences across age groups. Beyond the adrenaline-fueled scenes, Raiders of the Lost Ark has a story that connects with universal themes of courage, resilience, and the pursuit of knowledge. The film's success lay in its ability to entertain while giving audiences a hero they could root for on a personal level, making it an instant classic that endures today. The legacy of Raiders of the Lost Ark continues to echo through countless films that followed, inspiring an entire generation of filmmakers and solidifying the structure of the modern adventure blockbuster. Its influence can be seen in The Mummy series, which revives similar adventure archetypes with humor and supernatural intrigue, as well as in Pirates of the Caribbean, where Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow inherits Indy's mix of charm and unpredictability. In addition, Raiders paved the way for adventure stories that mix historical intrigue with fantastical elements, a genre blend that has become a staple in Hollywood. Its DNA is present in action-packed treasure hunts and supernatural thrillers, from National Treasure to Tomb Raider. Spielberg's work also set the bar for practical effects and stunts, prompting many directors to favor real, tangible action over computer-generated visuals whenever possible. John Hughes's The Breakfast Club is often hailed as the quintessential teen movie of the 1980s. But it did more than entertain. It redefined the teen genre by shedding light on the emotional and psychological struggles of high school students in a way that felt authentic and raw. Set over the course of a single day, the film follows 5 high school students from vastly different social groups as they spend a Saturday detention together. What begins as a typical showdown of cliques and stereotypes slowly unfolds into an honest and vulnerable exploration of identity, peer pressure, and family expectations. By creating multidimensional characters, the jock, the brain, the princess, the basket case, and the criminal, Hughes transformed what could have been predictable archetypes into complex, relatable individuals. Through candid conversations and confrontations, each character reveals insecurities and burdens that transcend social labels. This humanized approach allowed audiences to see themselves in these characters, even if they didn't belong to a particular type. Hughes's dialogue is both sharp and tender, capturing the emotional nuances of adolescence in a way that felt groundbreaking for the time. The Breakfast Club wasn't afraid to address the darker side of teenage life, touching on issues like parental pressure, loneliness, and the fear of not fitting in. Hughes's portrayal of these universal themes resonated deeply with young audiences, making the film an anthem for those who felt misunderstood or isolated. Its message was clear. Beneath the facades and labels, we're all struggling with something, and it's our shared experiences that bring us closer together. The legacy of The Breakfast Club is evident in the many coming-of-age films that followed, especially those that emphasize authenticity and emotional depth. Films like Lady Bird and The Perks of Being a Wallflower owe much to The Breakfast Club, as they similarly tackle the complexities of adolescent struggles, social identity, and self-discovery. Both Lady Bird and Perks follow young protagonists on journeys of introspection and growth, showing how teenage stories can be both specific to a time and place and universally relatable. Beyond individual films, The Breakfast Club also laid the groundwork for an entire genre shift, influencing a wave of coming-of-age narratives in both film and television. Shows like Euphoria and 13 Reasons Why explore the emotional landscapes of teens with similar honesty, taking Hughes' legacy into darker and more nuanced territory to resonate with today's audiences. The notion that teenage issues deserve to be treated with respect and sensitivity continues to shape how young people are portrayed on screen. In essence, The Breakfast Club elevated the teen genre, proving that these stories could be meaningful, introspective, and profound. Its impact is seen in the way modern cinema handles youth narratives, with more empathy, realism, and depth. By breaking down stereotypes and highlighting the shared struggles of adolescence, The Breakfast Club remains a timeless piece of cinema that continues to inspire storytellers and touch the hearts of new generations. The Empire Strikes Back, directed by Irvin Kershner, is widely regarded as one of the greatest sequels of all time, transforming Star Wars from a simple space fantasy into an epic mythological tale with complex characters and an evolving storyline. With its darker themes, intricate plot twists, and stunning visual effects, Empire deepened the galaxy far, far away, and brought new emotional depth to George Lucas' universe. The film took risks by developing character arcs that added emotional gravity to the saga. Luke Skywalker faces not just the external forces of the Empire, but also inner turmoil, especially as he discovers his lineage in the unforgettable "I am your father" moment with Darth Vader. This plot twist became a cultural touchstone, symbolizing the franchise's boldness and commitment to storytelling that would engage audiences on a deeper level. Through its nuanced storytelling, The Empire Strikes Back brought a newfound sophistication to blockbuster cinema. It introduced us to characters like Yoda, who would become a symbol of wisdom and mentorship, and Lando Calrissian, adding layers of complexity to the world. Moreover, the film's choice to end on a somber note, with the heroes in disarray and Han Solo frozen in carbonite, was nearly unheard of in mainstream cinema at the time. This daring approach established that sequels could push narrative boundaries and leave audiences eager for more, contributing to the idea of serialized storytelling on a grand scale. The technical advancements of Empire also raised the bar for visual effects, featuring groundbreaking work by Industrial Light and Magic ILM, with scenes such as the icy Battle of Hoth and the thrilling lightsaber duel between Luke and Vader. These sequences redefined what was possible on screen, creating an immersive experience that captivated audiences worldwide. The film's visual innovation, combined with its storytelling depth, marked a shift toward the event movie, where the release of a sequel was a cinematic event in itself. The Empire Strikes Back set the gold standard for sequels, showcasing how a follow-up could not only match its predecessor in impact, but also expand and enrich the storyline. Its success influenced how blockbuster franchises are built, inspiring series like The Lord of the Rings and the Dark Knight trilogies to develop intricate narratives across multiple films. Both franchises mirror Empire's balance of visual spectacle with profound, character-driven storytelling, using sequels as opportunities to challenge their protagonists, explore darker themes, and create cohesive story arcs that build toward epic conclusions. Empire also paved the way for the idea of trilogies and franchise films that contribute to an overarching narrative, something that franchises like the Marvel Cinematic Universe would adopt and expand upon. By demonstrating that audiences could engage with sequels on an emotional and intellectual level, The Empire Strikes Back helped solidify the franchise model that now dominates Hollywood. The Empire Strikes Back was a landmark in cinema, proving that sequels could elevate the original story, expand on its themes, and develop its characters in ways that resonated deeply with audiences. This approach set a precedent for creating blockbuster sequels that are ambitious, emotionally complex, and visually stunning, a legacy that continues to shape the film industry. Top Gun, directed by Tony Scott, was more than just a film. It was a cultural phenomenon that defined the 1980s blockbuster era. With its thrilling aerial sequences, electrifying soundtrack, and high-octane energy, Top Gun became the quintessential action movie that audiences couldn't get enough of. The film followed Navy fighter pilot Maverick, played by Tom Cruise, as he navigated the intense world of fighter pilot training at the elite Top Gun Naval Fighter Weapons School. This high-concept premise, combined with Scott's dynamic cinematography and engaging storytelling, made Top Gun a visually captivating experience that pushed the boundaries of cinematic spectacle. The film's stylish and visually innovative approach to action was groundbreaking, featuring exhilarating, tightly shot aerial dogfights and visually striking moments that showcase the speed, power, and thrill of aerial combat. This immersive experience was enhanced by the soundtrack, featuring hits like Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone and Berlin's Take My Breath Away, which became iconic songs in their own right and added to the movie's intense, heart-pounding atmosphere. The blending of dynamic visuals with a pulsating soundtrack created a sensory experience that audiences couldn't resist, and that has become a staple of blockbuster filmmaking ever since. Moreover, Top Gun solidified Tom Cruise as a movie star. His portrayal of the charismatic yet flawed Maverick resonated with viewers, and his on-screen journey from reckless young pilot to disciplined hero appealed to audiences on a personal level. Cruise's iconic aviator sunglasses and bomber jacket became symbols of cool confidence, while his fearless stunts and magnetic presence made Maverick one of the most memorable characters in 1980s cinema. Cruise's appeal and ability to embody a relatable yet aspirational hero helped establish the action star archetype that has influenced countless films and actors. Top Gun didn't just resonate because of its thrilling action scenes. It also tapped into themes of camaraderie, competition, and self-discovery. The intense rivalry between Maverick and Iceman, Val Kilmer, and Maverick's journey to overcome the shadow of his father's legacy gave the film a sense of emotional depth that allowed audiences to connect with its characters beyond the action. These themes of rivalry, growth, and teamwork have since become essential components in blockbuster storytelling, showing that great action films can also deliver on character-driven drama. The impact of Top Gun on modern cinema is undeniable, as it helped establish the formula for the modern action blockbuster. By prioritizing high-energy sequences, sleek cinematography, and relatable yet aspirational heroes, Top Gun laid the groundwork for franchises like Fast and Furious and Mission Impossible, which similarly blend spectacle with character-driven stories and dynamic action sequences. Films today continue to use the formula of Top Gun, mixing thrilling, larger-than-life action scenes with an emotionally relatable protagonist, to engage audiences on both a visual and emotional level. Top Gun also paved the way for the high-concept film, a genre where a movie's central idea can be easily summarized in a few words, in this case, fighter pilots at elite Navy school. This approach has since become a popular and effective strategy for blockbuster films, allowing them to capture audience interest quickly and build hype around an engaging, straightforward premise. In addition, the film's blend of action and style has inspired countless imitators and has been credited with helping to popularize the modern action franchise. The sequel, Top Gun Maverick, released decades later, demonstrates the lasting legacy of the original film and the continued appeal of high-concept action cinema done well. Ultimately, Top Gun is a landmark film that exemplified the unique style and energy of the 1980s, transforming action cinema and establishing a formula for blockbusters that has endured and evolved in modern Hollywood. Its ability to captivate through both thrilling spectacle and relatable characters makes it a timeless example of the 1980s at its best, and a defining influence on the action genre for decades to come. James Cameron's Aliens was a groundbreaking sequel that took Ridley Scott's atmospheric horror film, Alien, 1979, and elevated it into a high-octane, action-packed sci-fi thriller. Cameron expertly blended the horror elements of the original with adrenaline-fueled action sequences, giving audiences a fresh take that expanded the universe and redefined what a sci-fi action movie could be. By introducing themes of survival, camaraderie, and maternal instincts, Cameron added layers to the genre that resonated with audiences on a deeper level. One of the most iconic aspects of Aliens is Sigourney Weaver's portrayal of Ellen Ripley. In a role that demanded both physicality and emotional depth, Weaver brought to life one of cinema's first female action heroes who was both strong and relatable. Ripley's fierce determination to protect others, especially in her bond with the young Newt, added emotional weight to the film, and her vulnerability and resilience broke gender stereotypes. Her character set a new standard for female protagonists, showcasing that women could lead action films without being overly sexualized or one-dimensional. Ripley's character arc from survivor to protector transformed her into a symbol of empowerment, inspiring a generation of women and men alike. Cameron's Aliens also introduced innovative practical effects and groundbreaking set design, heightening the film's intense claustrophobic atmosphere. The film's use of animatronics for the alien queen and elaborate sets, like the alien nest, brought an unprecedented level of realism to the sci-fi genre. These visual elements not only created a terrifyingly immersive experience for viewers, but also set new standards for creature design and special effects in cinema. Aliens established a new benchmark for sequels by proving they could build on the original while forging a unique identity. It influenced future franchises by setting the precedent for sequels that expand on character development, themes, and world-building. Moreover, Aliens' impact is visible in modern female-led action films like Mad Max, Fury Road, and Wonder Woman, both of which embrace the legacy of strong, complex female protagonists. The influence also extends to sci-fi franchises like The Matrix and Avatar, which incorporate Cameron's meticulous approach to blending practical effects with emotional depth. Martin Scorsese's Raging Bull stands as one of the 1980s most powerful cinematic achievements, offering a brutally honest exploration of ambition, rage, and self-destruction. The film is based on the life of boxer Jake LaMotta, a man whose greatest battles are not in the ring, but with his own inner demons. Unlike traditional sports films that celebrate triumphs, Raging Bull digs deep into the complexities of human behavior, portraying LaMotta's violent tendencies, insecurities, and the toll his lifestyle takes on his relationships, Scorsese chose to shoot the film in stark black and white, adding a raw, almost documentary-like quality that underscored its unflinching realism and timeless quality. Robert De Niro's portrayal of LaMotta is nothing short of transformative. De Niro famously gained and lost significant weight to authentically depict LaMotta's physical and emotional journey, embodying his self-destructive behavior with an intensity rarely seen in cinema. His performance captures not only the physicality of a boxer, but the psychological torment of a man who is constantly fighting himself. This dedication to authenticity and depth in character portrayal became a landmark moment in biographical storytelling, showing that actors could fully immerse themselves in complex roles to bring real-life figures to life with raw honesty. Raging Bull also introduced new techniques in film editing and cinematography. Editor Thelma Schoonmaker, a longtime collaborator with Scorsese, employed rapid cuts, slow-motion shots, and visceral sound effects to capture the brutality and beauty of boxing in a way that hadn't been done before. Each punch in the ring felt brutal and real, reflecting not just the physical blows LaMotta endured, but the emotional ones he inflicted on himself. The film's structure, which intercuts moments of intense action with quiet reflective scenes, highlights Scorsese's skill in balancing pace, emotion, and visual storytelling, making Raging Bull a masterclass in the art of biography. Raging Bull set a new standard for biographical dramas, proving that authentic character study could elevate real-life stories into powerful cinematic experiences. Its influence is evident in later films like The Fighter, Black Swan, and Foxcatcher, all of which prioritize a psychological exploration of their protagonists over the glamour and sensationalism typical of Hollywood. Additionally, Raging Bull inspired a generation of filmmakers to adopt a more realistic, sometimes harsh approach to biographical storytelling, emphasizing raw emotion and character flaws over idealization. The film's legacy endures, showcasing the power of authenticity, emotional depth, and meticulous craft in biographical cinema. The 1980s was a decade of cinematic boldness, where filmmakers pushed boundaries and defied genre limitations. From redefining action and adventure to creating a foundation for blockbuster films, the 1980s created a lasting legacy in Hollywood. These 10 movies each brought something new, showing that storytelling could be both high concept and deeply personal. By blending innovative effects, character-driven narratives, and a willingness to take risks, the filmmakers of the 80s laid the groundwork for modern cinema. Today, we still see the echoes of these films in how movies are made and consumed. From the superhero movies that dominate the box office to complex, character-driven dramas that redefine genres, the influence of the 1980s is undeniable. These movies changed the rules and proved that Hollywood was ready to embrace a new era of storytelling, one that wasn't afraid to experiment, challenge, and ultimately transform cinema as we know it. Which 80s film do you think had the biggest impact on Hollywood? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into cinema history.